Morgan Lea is a voice actor based in Dallas, Texas. I've been working with Crunchyroll, formerly Funimation, for I think I actually started in the pandemic in 2020, so it's been 4 to 5 years now. Um,
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of Movement Radio. I am Chip Hazard,
And I'm Roger Sierra.
and today we are joined by voice actress extraordinaire Morgan Lea. Morgan, how are you today?
I'm okay. It's nice to be with you guys. How are you?
I'm tired.
Yeah.
Not even gonna lie, I'm tired.
It has been something lately.
Yes, I'm doing okay for a Monday, if
That's
that
good.
works. So for those who don't know, who is Morgan Lea?
Um, so Morgan Lea is a voice actor based in Dallas, Texas. I've been working with Crunchyroll, formerly Funimation, for I think I actually started in the pandemic in 2020, so it's been 4 to 5 years now. Um, I started primarily in theater. That's what I went into the world to do. I got my wonderful theater degree. Everybody loves a good BA. Um, and I just kind of I'd say I just fell into voice acting, but it is absolutely what I set out to do from the beginning. I, as a kid, was really obsessed with cartoons, animation of all kinds, and later fell into anime in my uh, preteen years. But when I was probably 4 or 5 years old, there was the Bugs Bunny anniversary 50th anniversary birthday special that I got on VHS, and in it they have a little memorial to Mel Blanc,
Mhm.
and that was when I discovered that voice acting was a thing, and it like clicked for me. There are real people behind the voices of cartoon characters that I love so much. I need to do that. That is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And so that's why I got into theater. And that's how I ended up doing voiceover currently for animation, Japanese anime. But, the goal is to do it in any capacity, anywhere I possibly can.
Awesome.
Awesome. Um, so he asked who you are. I'm gonna ask who were you before, getting to the business and everything, like just your upbringing, pretty much.
Uh, so who I was before was I don't talk too much. I actually do talk a lot about my past. And that I grew up, I was telling you guys earlier, I grew up in West Virginia, a little town in the middle of nowhere called Romney. It was a very conservative upbringing. Um, and needless to say, the person that I was before I really got into the career that I am is totally different than who I am now. I like to think that this is who I've always meant to be. But yeah, I grew up very conservative, fundamentalist Christian, evangelical background, very repressed. And now I am, you know, a loud lefty queer person online. So that's just sort of the huge leap that I have taken to get here.
Here's the thing that I always say, as long as you are happy with who you are, that's all that matters.
Yep.
Nothing else matters in this world as long as you are happy with who you are.
Yeah, I'd like to think so.
Yeah. So did you went to where did you go to college to get your BA in theater?
So my college background, I spent 1 semester at a private college in a place called Bethany, West Virginia, which was even smaller than the town that I grew up in. It's just outside of Pittsburgh, though. So they had like kind of a really neat theater program, but unfortunately it wasn't the best fit for me. Um, it was also very isolated. I got really sick at one point in college, for that first semester, to the point where I had to be rushed to the emergency room. Just a severe, like upper respiratory infection that developed into pneumonia. And because it was in the middle of nowhere, it was very expensive and scary because, there was no hospital in that town. I had to be, driven in an ambulance over an hour out of the little town that I was in. And
Wow.
so I did a transfer to where ultimately my alma mater, Fairmont State University, and continued my theater degree there. They had a really robust theater program. They At the time that I was in school, they got ranked in like the top 10 bachelor's programs for theater in the country, which was really impressive because, again, West Virginia is a very small state, not a lot of things going on there. And so for theater to take off in the program that I was in, I was very fortunate to get the education that I did in regards to the program that I chose. Um, we did some shows. I actually got to compete at the Kennedy Center. Oh God, KCACTF. I do not remember what the actual acronym stands for, but it's one of the big national theater programs in the United States, and I got to compete on the regional level. And I made it to the semifinals of the Irene Ryan acting scholarship, which was very, very cool. Um, didn't make it beyond the semifinals, but still, it's like a really nice moment of my career, and that was for my role in the show Kinder Transport, where I played a girl named Ava Schlesinger. She was part of this part of history called the Kinder Transport, where uh, little Jewish children that were survivors of the Holocaust were sent to different countries. I was sent to England, and I was raised by a nice little English lady, and I played Ava through the ages of 6, I believe, all the way to 16. And then I had my adult counterpart who played me as a 60-year-old woman. That was very cool. I got to work with some really phenomenal elder actresses in that show, playing both the woman who raised me and then the woman who played future me. And it was a very, very cool experience. That's what led me to get nominated for the scholarship that I did. And I got to do a lot of other really cool shows, but that was probably the standout of my time in college. Um, it's a very fond memory for me.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Mm. Uh, did did you or do you have any aspirations to do like Broadway or anything, being a from a theater background?
Definitely not Broadway. I am not a musical theater person. I do enjoy the musicals here or there, but as far as performing in them, I'm much more of a spectator. I loved working when we did musicals. I typically worked with the crew. I was the properties manager for like Annie Get Your Gun, and then kids version of the Aristocats, which was very very fun. I really enjoyed working in children's theater. I've worked with kids a lot throughout my life. I was a regular volunteer at library and children's literacy programs, and so just working in children's theater and getting to help the kids actually like get to experience their first stage experience was also a standout part of my time in college. But as far as Broadway goes, probably not. I really love smaller black box theater shows and companies. Uh, Kind of hoping to get into the theater scene out here. I know a few of our voice actors are in theater, and I occasionally go and see them perform. And I'd like to get back to it, um, but there are some things. that have happened in my experience with theater and my experience with like working in that environment that have sort of set me back from doing the live acting.
Mm,
Voice acting is just sort of where I am most comfortable.
I definitely can understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so after college, did you do any like commercial work or anything before you jumped into voice acting, or was it like college voice acting?
Um, so I didn't do voice acting wasn't a part of my college training,
Hmm.
but I did work as a radio DJ, so I did some radio commercials and things like that. And then I had actually been working with a couple indie animators online since I was in high school. So I did the indie voiceover thing throughout college as well. So I've done a little bit of animation, a little bit of uh, some video game, not much, mostly like visual novels, and a lot of things that have not come out, that just, sort of died in the water. The unfortunate thing about being a creative is being part of things that don't get funding and sometimes never get finished. I've been a victim to that myself with my own endeavors, so it's very unfortunate, but it's still a great experience, and I've made a lot of really great connections throughout it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. Uh, we know a few people that have done a lot of like indie voiceover and
Mhm.
stuff, and it it is unfortunate that a lot of those projects never see the light of day because they're really good and really cool stuff,
Yeah,
but like you said, without the funding, it's just not you're not able to do a whole lot.
yeah. It's unfortunate. It one of the things that and yeah, I don't want to like completely say that this isn't a possibility in my future as I continue to get older, but one of the things that I had always been passionate about doing is becoming a producer and trying to help people achieve the funding necessary. It's never been a thing that I've been able to make come to fruition due to many a circumstance, such as the pandemic.
Yes.
Yeah. The pandemic set all of us
Oh yeah.
back a ton, both mentally and financially. So,
Yeah.
Yep.
um, so
So, oh, go ahead.
go ahead, Raj. No.
I was gonna say, so, what was your first like work when it did come to Funimation slash Crunchyroll? Like, what was that first one that got it going?
So my first actual project with Funimation was Black Clover. I remember this specifically because it was just a small bit, but I played this little baby whale, and my line was in the script, OM cute. And that was my cue. And I lost my mind. I'm like, I don't know what that sounds like. What is OM cute? And I spent like, this was back in the time during the pandemic. We actually would sometimes get lucky enough to see a script before we actually record it. So I got to prepare. This is not standard at all. It's just because the pandemic had thrown so much of a wrench into the production process. Some of
Hmm.
us were able to get the scripts ahead of time. Um, and so I was like, I don't know what OM cute is. I've never done this before. I'm like, I had no ADR training. I just had an acting background. My husband had been working with Funimation longer than I have, and I'm very close friends with several of the people who work at Funimation. So like the goal was before all of this happened was I was going to get to be in a Walla group and I would actually get like the on-site sort of experience, but instead I was thrown into this session with a cue that it's like, okay, I know what OM means. It's open mouth. Got that. That's fine. What is cute? And so I eventually figured it out when I got to hear the J, which is the Japanese track, sorry. And so it was fine, but the reason it sticks out to me is because I'll just lose my mind every now and then thinking about OM cute. What is OM cute? That was my first actual bit. My first role was Ranga from Dungeon of Black Company, which was just so much fun. I think it's a terribly underrated anime. Um, it's your typical isekai, former. I like to call him uh, discount Kamina from Gurren Lagann, the main character. His name is Ninomiya, and he was big, rich, neat in Japan, who gets thrown into uh, his, fantasy land, and in it, he is trying to build up his former wealth that will eventually, he thinks, maybe, possibly lead him back to his life in Japan. But he just wants to, live alone and in riches. That's his goal. And along the way, he ends up in this time travel plot line where my character Ranga is from, and he is a mage that um, has been forced to present as female. Um, has no problem with it. So I like to think that my first role was actually a pretty genderqueer character. And Ranga is from the past, and he is trying to save the future, and the chosen one must be the one to save the future. And so that's how they get connected. And it's just a really ridiculous romp through this fantasy land. And it's not explicitly a queer piece. Japan and its queer media is very rocky, but it is really cool that the main character, Ninomiya, himself seems to present as ace. He is not attracted or in love with any of the female characters. They fall in love with him, and so he ends up with this harem that he has absolutely no interest in. So all of the fan service that does happen is just at the expense of the characters, and then it just passes by, which is unique. And so it made that show really stick out because you don't see it very often. But that was my first role. But other than that, it was OM cute, the tiny whale in a filler arc of Black Clover.
So of your vocal range, you've done several characters and everything. What would you say is the hardest vocal range for you to sustain over a longer recording session?
Okay. I have not gotten to work in the range that actually is the hardest for me to sustain just yet. At least not with the work that's out there, like with Crunchyroll. It's actually my lower register, maintaining a deep chest voice. I have a pretty medium register, but like anything lower than this is really, really hard to sustain. I play a few characters in um, my husband's project that we collaborate on. It's a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure fan audiobook, and I use my lower range for a character named Alexa, who I don't get to voice anymore for reasons. And then a woman named Dior, who is the universe's version of
Deal.
Dio. Um, and yeah, and so my lower range for those, it takes a lot of stamina that, I can't guarantee, but because I get to record this on my own time, I get to do the practice that'll be necessary to hopefully one day actually land roles outside of like personal projects with that. Um, but yeah, I haven't gotten to really exercise that range just yet. Fingers crossed one day.
It'll happen. We're gonna speak it into existence right now.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
So outside of voice acting, what are some of your hobbies and interests and stuff?
Um, so other than voice acting, I am a writer primarily. I co-write my husband's book with him. I have my own writing projects that I haven't really gotten to commit to in recent years. I spent a lot of time co-writing with my husband, his audiobook for JoJo, and then before that we had a project. It's still sort of being produced. It's just very hard without the funding, called Forward, and it was originally an animated series pitch, and we were writing. It was going to be like a four season treatment, and I had gotten through writing about a third of it. I think I ended up writing uh, 17 episodes altogether for that, and so that was like our big primary goal and project. And then we sort of upended our lives, moved from Austin, Texas to Dallas, Texas, and lost almost everything. Um, the project itself had been kept on a hard drive, and that hard drive got damaged, and we lost the majority of the project in the end. And it was very unfortunate, and it sort of like took all of the steam out of what was our biggest passion. And so I've spent the past few years kind of trying to resurrect this thing. And I managed to, at the very least, cast and direct the audio version of it for its first 7 or 8 episodes. And that's what's still being produced right now. Is just trying to get that audio production finished and out there in the world. Right now, it only has 3 episodes up online.
Okay. And if anybody wanted to find those, where would they go?
It would be forwardanime.com. It would be spelled Foreward, anime. Um, there's a whole like story behind the way that it's spelled because it's not quite like a forward at the beginning of a book. It's a very archaic version of the word forward that has to do with being at the front line of a battlefield.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
That that makes perfect sense. Um, oh, what else? You into video games or anything? Come
So
on.
I actually don't have a lot of hobbies, which is very sad. I get the non-diagnosed as ADD, but like I am the I'm going to pick up this one thing and I'm going to obsess over it for 3 months and then I'm never going to touch it again. So I'll get into all sorts of art projects, um, clay sculpture, painting, model making, anything at all that's especially very hands-on. I just come from a very artsy background. Um, but nothing has stuck other than the writing and the acting. Um, I used to be a huge reader. I do read a lot of manga. That's probably the only thing that has been consistent. As I am regularly keeping up with releases, especially in Shonen Jump.
Oh
What are you
yeah.
currently keeping up with?
My current favorite series is Akane Banashi,
Hmm.
which is a series about a Rakugo, or
That's
a
the
Rakugo in training. Have you read it?
that's the one where the performing arts, the single person performer. Yep.
Yes.
Okay. So
Yes.
it was the one I was thinking about. All right.
No,
Yes.
yeah. It's phenomenal, and coming from, an artistic and a theatrical background, it hits home so much. But other than that, I've been reading there's a manga called Astro Baby. I
Hmm.
read most of my manga on Manga Plus. I just happen to like their app the most. But Astro Baby is a lot of fun. It's about some aliens. They're called Coopers, and they are these like atomic level aliens that possess humans, and they're invading Earth. And so it's this baby has been born with the most intelligent version of that life form, and it is trying to survive, but it makes a pact with another human who is out to protect the baby because the baby is the son of the girl that he loved. And so they're going to try and save humanity from this invasion. And it's just kind of it's fun, it's goofy, it's very action heavy, very shonen. And I've really enjoyed that one. Um, and then I think the other one that I'm currently obsessed over is uh oh God, what is it called? It's I can't remember its name. The concept is this underground um escape artist who goes by the name of Darling, and he specifically helps people, especially women, but he helps people out of the underground and helps them to escape basically the mafia. And it's got a very like noir angle. Um, if you are into anything that's got that sort of like Prohibition era, Baccano 91 Days sort of uh, part of American history. It's got that sort of style, but it's very timeless. You can't really tell whether or not it's set, sort of like Spy Family. It's
Hmm.
sort of in a time period, but there are some anachronisms. Beautiful art style. I'm really loving the translation for it. That's a big thing for me, is making sure that the translation is really good because unfortunately we've got some people who are using AI to localize and it makes for some really bad scripts. So this
Yep.
one seems to be human translated and it's doing really well. I've really enjoyed that. I love a good sort of like thriller escape artist sort of thing, kind of a spy novel. So it's really fun.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
I
And
have to
you
look
said,
into that.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. And then previously you said you were kind of into anime before you got into the voice. What are some of your favorite anime?
I mentioned one just now. Baccano is
Yep.
one
Hmm.
of my absolute favorite anime. It's also one of my favorite dubs. It's just so good. You've got Brian Massey playing Ladders, which is, I mean, everyone knows that it's his most iconic role, but it is so good. It's so chaotic. It is Ian Sinclair and Caitlin Glass at their best as Isaac and Miria. Um, I love Baccano so much, and I love the period of time, 1920s Prohibition. So it's everything that I eat up. Um, Other than that, my absolute favorite anime of all time is a little 12 episode thing called Kaiba, and it's by Masaaki Yuasa, who is probably best known now as the director of Devilman Crybaby, Eizouken,
Hmm.
Keep Your Hands Off Eizouken. Um, he's a phenomenal director, the creator of Science Saru, which is my favorite anime studio, of course, doing Don 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 right now. Um, but Kaiba is this little sci-fi romance that deals with how memory develops an identity, how memory develops the identity of individuals. And it's it's just this really beautiful experimental style that Yuasa is known for. It's very uh the word I like to use is raw. He's not like a phenomenal artist in regards to like figure and shape. It's very sketchy feeling, but he captures movement in a really unique way. And that's what Science Saru now is really known for, is that style that he sort of picked up and took off with.
Mhm.
And anyone who has talked to me about anime has heard me talk about Kaiba. It's just one I recommend. It has never been dubbed. My dream is to be able to direct that dub. Like that is the career goal if it could ever happen. If anyone could ever give me all the money in the world to license one anime, that would be the one.
Okay. Okay. It's
Yeah.
gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Fingers crossed, man.
Hey, we believe over here that you can speak stuff into existence, and that's definitely what we're doing here. We're gonna speak that into existence. It's gonna happen for you.
Oh, for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a lot of animes out there that need to be dubbed over that haven't been.
Yes. And
Mm,
there are ones that have been dubbed in the past that I would love to see get like the Sailor Moon treatment,
redone.
where we get a
Yeah.
no offense to anyone who worked on those, because like that was such a time to be alive, to be working in the field. I can only imagine how challenging it was to be recording on tape. I get it. And there's some real jewels, but like there's also anime out there. Bubblegum Crisis is one I think about where I'm like, that could be, we could do a better script for that.
I mean, we just need to redo Ghost Files and we're all good, you know.
Yeah.
Uh,
Just do a
oh,
dual track. Dual
Yeah,
mhm,
yeah.
tracks.
yeah. I'm really enjoying the remake of Ranma and a Half.
Oh my
Uh,
God, yes.
I I the original was the first anime that I ever remember watching. Uh
Really?
yeah, and I didn't know it was an anime then. I was just like,
Yeah.
"Oh, here's this cartoon and it's really cool." Uh and then as I got older and learned what anime was, I was like, "Man, I couldn't find it anywhere." And I was like, "Man, I really want to watch that." And then they
Yeah.
announced the remake and I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm
Yeah.
and I've watched every episode two
That's
or three
great.
times
Yeah.
so far."
Oh no, I'm so excited that we had an amazing readaptation of Urusei Yatsura.
Hmm.
And now Ranma in half, and I'm just like a few series could definitely get the Brotherhood treatment and get some new anime out there. I'd like that too.
I mean,
Yeah.
Soul Eater and Tokyo Ghoul probably
Yeah.
need the most right now.
Oh God, poor Soul Eater.
It was doing so well, and they're
That's a
like, they forgot about it, I guess, or something, because they just went left out of nowhere.
yeah. Soul Eater has a bit of a tragic history, from my
Mm.
understanding, with the manga and how it was
Yeah,
sort of unceremoniously canceled. And yeah, Soul Eater definitely deserves better.
yeah. But they're doing
One
Fire
day.
Force at least, so you know
Yeah.
he's
Yeah,
keeping
I'm
it alive that
surprised
way.
that it's coming back.
Well, it's the final
Yeah.
they're trying to do it all in like 12 episodes, which I mean they can, but it's just a lot to try to put in there. And I'm like, let's see what they do. I have
Fingers
faith.
crossed that it's better than The Promised Neverland.
Uh, that definitely needs a brotherhood treatment.
That was really,
Oh, that yeah, that I don't know. It's hard because them Tokyo Ghoul
it was pretty
probably
rough too.
yeah they got just way derailed from what they were supposed to be, and it's just like well, it's finished now. We can just do like an anniversary set or something or a
You
movie,
could have just
please.
left it alone. That might have been better in some cases.
Yeah,
Uh,
but
yeah.
I believe in them. I feel like they can do something worth
Yeah.
the actual ending, not
Yeah.
what it did.
Oh, oof, oof, oof. That's all I can say about that. Oof. Um, wow. I literally lost all track of thought there for a minute.
I got you.
Oh,
Um, what has been your favorite role to play so far?
Mm.
I mean, I know it's like akin to asking what your favorite child is. You're not supposed to have a favorite,
Yeah.
but there's obviously there's one that sticks out a little more, and you can say OM cute if you want to.
OM Cute is probably the highlight of my career. Um, Actually, it's probably Ranga. He remains to be just the most special. Um, it, I was cast, was I was cast around the time of it was my first session for Ranga. That was the anniversary of my best friend's birthday, who had just passed a few years beforehand.
Oh,
And so when I got the role, I'm like, this is absolutely her doing. Like she is the one that orchestrated this into the universe. And so it was very, very special. It was also the first audition that I like landed the role of. So frequently, we're doing a lot less auditions at Crunchyroll than my understanding is they used to do. We still audition, but as it stands, they're pulling more from a pool of generic sides. So, like, you'll have your uh, teenage female voice, and that's what you submit. And Rango was the first, like, audition that I knew the character, I knew the show, and I got it. And so it was a great moment for me in regards to, like, the way I perceive myself as an actor and like my ego. But it was also just a great role. And also, I got to work with one of my best friends, Dallas Reed. They are a phenomenal director. I really enjoyed getting to have my first role be with them. Um, I've had a lot of great roles since then. After that, I got my first, it was a year or two after I got my first lead as Pharma. That was also another very special role. That was with Parallel World Pharmacy. Probably one of the pieces that I am most proud of for consistent work. In just because I was like in every episode and I got to basically kind of nail it every single time, and that was really cool. And then most recently, another role that's very special to me happened around the same time as my friend's passing. I got to record one of the episodes in, but Chika Komari in Too Many Losing Heroines. She is another role that's very special. I got cast the day I found out that my cat got cancer, and then I had to put him down that weekend. So my first session I had to cancel and reschedule because I was spending my last moments with him, and I was just not going to be able to make that work. But that role, Chica, she allowed me to do a lot of the grief processing, which is kind of one of my favorite things about acting is being able to really explore the depth of the human experience and emotions um, in a way that's kind of in a safe, controlled environment. You're not like out there working your cashier job. You're there in the studio with this character and like two other people, and it's very intimate. And so you get to spend a lot of time really feeling and processing everything. And so she allowed me to go through the steps of grief that I needed to in order to continue moving on with my life because it was a very, very hard time. And then in the middle of that, I ended up recording an episode, like I said, around the anniversary of my best friend's birthday slash her passing because she died 4 days after she had her birthday. Um, and it was a very emotional, hard time, but it's very special and I hold it very dearly.
well, I'm sorry to hear
Wow.
about your
Yeah.
friend's passing, but I'm glad that you can have those memories that you do
Yeah.
hold dear. Um, so
Yeah, and I'm
Yeah.
also glad that you had work as an outlet to really do that because not many jobs give you an opportunity to do that.
It's
But that's,
very, very hard when it's not. Yeah, I
yeah.
was very, very fortunate.
yeah. Um, So we don't want to keep you for too long. We know
Sure.
that you're busy and everything, but if anybody wanted to follow you to see about an upcoming project that you can't announce yet, but you will get the chance to eventually, where would they go?
I am Morg Lee, Morglea, pretty much everywhere. Formerly Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. I'm still there. Blue Sky, Instagram, those are probably the primary platforms that you'll see me on, but I'm pretty online. Unfortunately, probably a mistake, but yeah, if I'm announcing projects, it'll be those three places.
Awesome. We will have links to all those in the description below. So we were once told that the greatest gift you can give another person is your time because it's the one thing you cannot get back. And we greatly appreciate you sharing your time with us this evening.
Yes.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for sitting with me. It's been wonderful talking to you.
It's
It's
been
been a
great.
blast. Yes. Um, so if you'll just hang out with us just one quick second,
Of course.
uh, we'll run through this outro and get you on your way.
Absolutely.
Um, Obviously, for the viewers out there, please do not leave without leaving a like, comment, share, and subscribe. Check us out on all of our social media platforms. If you want to continue to support us, streamlabs.com/movement radio/merch. Go copy you all of the great movement radio merch. Once again, Morgan, thank you for joining us. Roger, you got anything?
As always, thank you guys for the support, great engagement, and everything. Um, Without you fans, we wouldn't be able to do things like this, and we wouldn't be able to actually have fun and have discussions with people. So thank you guys so much for all the great support.
Yes, thank you. So until next time, I am Chip Hazard,
Roger Sierra.
and she is Morgan Lee. This is Movement Radio.